You might have seen a video where recently I broke the core rules of Warhammer 40,000 for 10th edition. Oh, and that video went down a treat. But you thought I'd stop there? It's time for me to break the Space Marine Index. And I'm not going to tell you how to play Space Marines, but no one cares. I've been playing Space Marines for longer than you can imagine, and I'm going to tell you the dumbest combos I've come up with. Thank you very much again for sending me an early preview copy of the Index so I can talk to you about it. So here we go. Here is how I've already broken the Space Marine Index. Let's talk about the first unit, and that is the Desolation Squad. Oh, you thought they'd be gone? You thought they'd get nerfed? No, they are really, really good. And I'm going to show you how to stack well to make them even dumber, okay? First off, they still have two options in their profile. They have the Super Crack Launcher and the Super Frag Launcher. Now, these are both heavy. They are ballistic skill 4, so if you stand still, you're going to be hitting on 3s. Now, I think the Super Crack Rocket Launcher is still the best one. It hits on 4s unless you stand still. It's now strength 10, only -2 AP and D6 +1 damage. Obviously, a slight difference from the previous edition. However, they are all also equipped with the Castellan Launcher, which is also still blast and indirect. The Castellan Launcher is D3 shots, hits on a 3, has strength 4, no AP and 1 damage. Again, slightly weaker than the previous edition. However, it is indirect, and we know indirect is very good, and the Sergeant can also still take the Venga Launcher, which is blast and indirect as well, at D6 shots, strength 7, -1, 2 damage. And you might be thinking, Mikey, these profiles are slightly nerfed from last edition, and I'm like, yes, they are, but we're about to make them better than last edition. These guys have a rule called Targeter Optics, which is so funny. So what you do when you can't see something with indirect fire is you're actually -1 to hit that target. So, for example, the Castellan Launcher in this instance will be hitting on a 4, and the Venga Launcher will be hitting on a 3 because it naturally hits on 2. You also give the opponent the benefit of cover because you can't see them. So you're -1 to hit and give them +1 save. However, Targeter Optics, if you remain stationary with this unit, you ignore cover. And you ignore the penalty for -1 to hit if you are attacking with indirect. I said, Target Optics, each time this unit remains stationary until the start of your next movement phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in this unit have the ignores cover ability and can ignore the penalty to their hit rolls when making attacks with indirect fire against targets that are not visible to them. So you are pseudo getting AP back because you are shooting a target that is in cover, technically, and you're ignoring that cover. It also ignores cover for the Super Crack Launchers, which are obviously AP2, so essentially being more closer to AP3, like a pseudo AP because you're ignoring cover. And we don't stop there. Right, we're going to take a unit of 10, okay? I think what you're going to see, because we're going to be attaching characters to this unit, I think you're going to see power Death Stars of one max unit trying to get as many buffs on that unit as possible. And the first one is the Primaris Apothecary. This is one of the 2 units that can attach to the Desolation Squad, the other one being a Primaris Librarian. You can't attach captains, lieutenants, anything like that onto this unit. Only the Primaris Apothecary, who is great. He has the Narcissium, which is, while this model is leading a unit, he's leading your big fat unit of Desolation Marines, by the way. In your command phase, you can return 1 destroyed model to that unit. So if you do start losing Desolation Marines, i.e. in a mirror match, in an indirect mirror match, you lose 1, the Apothecary is going to pick 1 back up for free. Now, the extra bonus is if anyone does ever kill your Desolation Marines, he's going to give you a command point on 2+. But that's not the possibility we're thinking of. We don't care about that because we're going to be giving the Apothecary an enhancement known as Bolter Discipline. Now, Bolter Discipline gives the unit sustained hits, okay? Now, we're going to stand still, okay? We're going to shoot our Castellan Launchers. They're going to hit on 3s. They're going to ignore cover and ignore the penalty. Now, 6s to hit are going to proc an additional hit. All right, you're like, okay, that's good. Okay. Cool. Why don't we put them in the Devastated Doctrine, okay, which allows the unit to shoot in a turn which it advanced. That's great. Okay, cool, like it. I don't care about that. All right, let's use Storm of Fire, 1 command point. You choose a unit, and it gives them ignore cover. All right, we've already got ignore cover, Mikey. Okay, I get it. I understand. How about whilst the Devastated Doctrine is active for that unit, they get an additional AP. So now your 10d3 indirect shots, including the Venga Launcher, all has additional AP. So it could be AP1 for the Castellan and AP2 for the Venga Launcher that has sustained hits. But not only does Storm of Fire give you an AP, Bolter Discipline, the enhancement that affects all ranged weapons, also procs critical hits on 5s, meaning 5s to hit are going to proc that sustained hit. So 5s to hit are 2 hits. But Mikey, you can only use the Devastating Doctrine once. Correct. Unless you use the stratagem Adaptive Strategy. In your command phase, you can select one Adeptus Astartes unit, and you can select any doctrine, and that unit is treated as being in that doctrine, even if you've already used it this game. So you can spend one command point every single turn to put that unit into the Devastated Doctrine, and then use Storm of Fire on that unit as well to give them sustained hits on 5s or 6s, ignore cover, also AP. You can get this unit shooting 30 Castellan shots, and you can double it because they can all become sustained hits 1. So you can have 60 indirect hits plus the Wenger launcher at D6. So that is 72 indirect hits, and it'll be a maximum of 84 damage at AP 1 or 2. Now the Apothecary is going to be getting them back up for free every turn, but you can also do the same thing using a Librarian. It changes nothing, but it does give the unit a 4+ invulnerable. So if you prefer to have an invulnerable, take a Primaris Librarian, slap that in that unit instead. Now you're getting all those indirect hits, ignoring cover, sustained hits, and a 4+ invul. This unit is honestly so good still, because indirect is good. It has a bit of a nerf because everyone's going to get a cover save, but you're not going to give them a cover save because you're a Space Marine. Maximum 84 damage, and also you can just choose a unit for Oath and Moment, so you can reroll all hits to guarantee more 5s to hit for sustained hits, and then reroll all wounds with it, with all of that AP. So you got like pseudo AP2, pseudo AP3 on the Wenger launcher. Again, pseudo because you're ignoring cover, so essentially treating that as like it was an AP. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. No, I think Bolt of Discipline as an enhancement is one of the best ones we've seen so far, because we've only seen like 8. You can put this on any character and attach any character to most units. Now you can actually stack this with the Apothecary Biologist from the new Leviathan box set. He has surgical precision. While this model is leading a unit, the weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits. Okay, lethal hits meaning you roll a 6 to hit, it causes a wound automatically. It's surgical precision, but that also means he's shooting for some reason. Okay, now the Biologist is in Gravis armor, which means you can only attach him to other Gravis armor units, like the Eradicators. Now, lethal hits is obviously very good. Let's say, for example, we gave the Apothecary Biologist Bolt of Discipline. We can do the exact same thing with Storm of Fire. We can do the exact same thing with Adaptive Strategy. But we can also attach a Captain in Gravis armor, meaning he has Rites of Battle, which is once per battle round, one unit from your army with this ability can be targeted by a stratagem for 0 CP, even if another unit from your army has been targeted by that stratagem this phase. Meaning you can use Adaptive Strategy on one unit, such as an example, a Desolation Squad, and then use it on the Eradicators as well if you really want to, and put them both into the Devastating Doctrine. Or you could use Storm of Fire on both of them. The choice is yours. But let's put Bolt of Discipline on the Apothecary. Let's put the Apothecary in a unit of 6 Eradicators, 2 multi-melters, 4 melter rifles, because they've all the melters are wrapped up into the same. Heavy, melter 2, range 18, 1 attack, 3s to hit, strength 9, -4, D6. So in half range within 9 inches, he's going to get an additional 2 damage. But it's D6 and strength 9 -4. That's obviously a very good profile. The multi-melter, very similar. It's 2 shots instead, but it hits on a 4. That's just a bunch of attacks. So you're going to be getting 8 melter shots, okay? But any 5s to hit, if you're using the Storm of Fire and the Bolt of Discipline, are going to generate an additional hit. Any 6s are going to generate an additional hit and an auto wound. So rather than rolling 2 wounds if you roll a 6, one of them's an auto wound, and then you're going to roll into the pool again. So if you rolled all 6s to hit, you would cause 8 wounds and I'll have 8 hits. So you can cause 16 wounds with this one unit. At strength 9, -4, ignoring cover, D6 damage. But Mikey, I'm not going to roll loads of 6s. I'm like, yeah, no, that's cool. That's all right. Why don't we infiltrate them using strategic reserves and let them use Total Obliteration, which is their own special rule, which is each time a range attack by a model in this unit targets a monster or a vehicle, you can reroll the hit, the wound, and the damage roll. You reroll all of the dice. They don't shoot twice anymore, fair enough. You make them shoot twice, technically, because you make them double hits and lethal hits, with sustained and lethal stacking together. but they reroll all hits, so you're more likely to get those 6s and 5s. They reroll all wounds, so if all the extra hits are going to probably wound as well. And then you reroll damage roll because you hate your opponent. Even so, both of these combos are really dumb. You can run them together because you're using the captain with Rites of Battle, so you can use Storm of Fire on both units. You can use Adaptive Strategy on both units if you really want to. Obviously, you only have one Bolt of Discipline to deal with. That's one enhancement on one character. Arguably, I think that's better on the Desolation squad because they are lower firepower, they're weaker weapons, so they need more hits to get through. And then the Eradicators are auto-wounded on 6s to hit anyway, so you could reroll all of them if you really want to. You can give them Ignore Cover and additional AP, so they're at pseudo AP 6, so only getting invulnerable saves, no armor saves of any kind at AP 6 by using Storm of Fire. If you put your entire army into the Devastated Doctrine and using Storm of Fire on those two at the same time, they're both going to get Ignore Cover. They're both going to get the additional AP. And if you really want to, you can also take Gulliman, who allows you to do the same thing. He lets you use a stratagem. It's a different ability because Gulliman has the Supreme Strategist ability, which is exactly the same as Rites of Battle. Because it's a slightly different rule, it has the same effect essentially. Choose a unit within 12 and they can use a stratagem for 0 CP, even if it's already been used. You can use Adaptive Strategy 3 times because you can target the Desolation squad normally. The captain can target his own unit, which is the 6 Eradicators, and then you can choose another unit within 12 of Gulliman, or you can do the same thing with Storm of Fire, for example, give them all additional AP by choosing the Devastated Doctrine and then using Storm of Fire on all 3 units. So there you go. There's a very quick video about 2 of the strongest combos, I think. There's probably going to be loads more, and that's why you guys come in. Leave a comment down below of the weirdest, funniest, most broken combo you can find. And yeah, I'll be back very soon for more armies, where I'm going to break those too. Thank you very much to Games for sending the PDF through. Thanks for you for subscribing, leaving a like, and also leaving a super thanks. Not a super chat, leaving a super thanks. You're going to put £1.99, you can be like, wow, thanks Mikey for this info. But otherwise, thanks for watching.